Speaking on behalf of the class of 2012 are Miss Tara Mahan and Mr. Matthew Sauer.
Good afternoon, Hazard High School, family, friends, esteemed colleagues, grandparents, great-grandparents, brothers, sisters, pets, third cousins, estranged uncles. And if you fit into none of those categories, I don't know why you're here. But welcome anyway. Today is Sunday, June 3rd, 2012, and these are not the morning announcements. That is going to be one tough routine to break. If I ever have to tell someone what day it is ever again, I fear that I will automatically divulge to them all about sports physicals and periodic peer-to-peer pizza parties, which is incredibly fun to say, but not necessarily relevant. But if I didn't have just one announcement for you today, it'd be that today is graduation. You didn't see that one coming, did you? No, but it is. It is, right? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here today. High school has led to this moment right here. We learned as freshmen what to do, what not to do, and how things could be done differently. Throughout our high school career, we have remained dedicated to always putting forth our best efforts in everything, to being leaders in all that we do, to looking out for those peers younger than us, and always, always texting, tweeting, and frivolously downing cups of caffeine while doing said things. However, life was not always the sweet bliss that we have come to know and cherish. In fact, Tara and I would like to invite you to remember a simpler, more intelligible era when we were still humble, gracious, and less than 3 feet tall.
That's right, we're going all the way back to kindergarten. Back when your biggest cause of stress was what you were going to bring for snack time. Making sure to spell cat with a C and not a C.
I struggled with that one. You know, for me, kindergarten was actually mentally, physically, and emotionally scarring. All I remember before I blacked out with severe weeping was that I one day accidentally knocked over the ant farm, single-handedly killing every living being within it. It was devastating.
Clearly, kindergarten was a really tough time for you. I'd personally had a fabulous time in kindergarten in Miss Schumacher's AM class, but my favorite part was definitely participating on the high-risk soccer team. Despite the fact that I spent most of the games picking dandelions and practicing my cartwheels, I was first introduced to the aspect of a team, which is something I carried with me all throughout high school.
Now, Hyra, that's a memory for me, little known to anyone. I was quite a child prodigy when it came to athletics. No, wait, that wasn't me. You know, I played t-ball for an entire season and had a batting average of -703, and that's keeping my ball doesn't move. Ever. I also participated in a week-long basketball camp where I was told I shot like a girl, promptly persuading me out of athletics in the better part of forever.
But I have to admit, my biggest triumph in kindergarten, besides athletics, was my wardrobe, definitely. 90% of the time was spent in some form of an overall, and the other 10% of the time was spent in Halloween costumes in years past that my mom, for some reason or another, let me leave the house in.
Well, overall, I've got 3 syllables for you. Knee-high socks. Until 5th grade. Although I did have one shining moment in kindergarten, and that was when I brought in my alarm clock for show and tell. It would be only years later that I would realize that alarm clocks are not nearly as rare or exciting as I once perceived them to be.
Well, I feel like we have kindergarten pretty well covered, so we can move on to 1st grade.
You know, I don't remember a whole lot about 1st grade, except that we had a really long unit on whales. Like, you know, it was as long as like a blue whale, which you remember that was the largest whale. I love whales.
I actually speak fluent whale. I learned from the very educational motion picture, Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I'm trying to speak. Moving on, we have Murphy!
And there might have been another school, but we don't have time, so I guess moving on. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure Raleigh was just fine. Well, elementary school, as I remember was a magical place, filled with student council-endorsed popcorn days, Monday morning meetings, and beautiful, graceful, elegant aquatic fowl that once a year found solace.
They were called ducks. Yeah, just ducks.
Well, they were there. They were really cool. Well, what about elementary school do you remember this one?
I have to say my favorite part of elementary was when my 4th grade reading circle wrote and performed the critically acclaimed and internationally renowned Helen Keller opera. A masterpiece in 5 movements and all that was and is Helen Keller. And besides dressing up as Anne Sullivan in said opera, I also dressed up as many other things on quite possibly the best day of the calendar year for anyone under the age of 10, Halloween.
I really trying to recall my experience with Halloween. What were you? Let's recap.
Okay, 2nd grade, I was a spider queen.
And I was the crocodile hunter.
3rd, I was a hippie.
And I was the crocodile hunter.
Not so original. All right. 4th, I was a Spartan cheerleader.
I was a ninja. No, wait, I was the crocodile hunter.
And in 5th grade, to end things with a dramatic twist, I regrettably dressed as a man with a mullet, nonetheless.
No, for 5th grade, I was Steve Irwin, who's also more commonly known as the crocodile hunter.
I think you were a little obsessed.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But even from early on, from Halloween costumes and other things, it was very evident that boys and girls are quite different.
Unless they dress like one another.
That's right.
That was right. Well, even amidst those differences, both genders, I think, can probably agree on one thing as we look back on our years together, and that is that middle school was terrible. At least terribly awkward. That's all I meant by that.
But that's not to say that the teachers were not absolutely wonderful.
Because they were.
They definitely were. But let's sum up middle school, the more superficial aspects, with a few key phrases.
Dirt stashes.
And the top of that, races.
Baby fat.
Gaucho pants.
A great diversity of gel hairstyles.
And slick back ponytails parted right down the center.
Although clearly we found each other attractive, judging by our propensity to date a new person every 3 hours or thereabouts.
Middle school is a time when we abandoned our marriages of elementary school playgrounds and traded them in for something far worse. Having your friends dictate your romantic life and hearing that your relationship was over secondhand.
Although what made middle school bearable for me, at least, was we had the Lugnut game, we had Cedar Point, and I gleefully enjoyed Mr. Seck plotting the downfall of innocent 6th graders who surpassed the hallway speed limit to lunch. In fact, I learned that there's nothing more satisfying than hearing the dull thud of an unsuspecting student running right into a door.
Now that we have the ups and downs of middle school covered, we can move on to the most recent and final chapter of our time here at Hazlet Public Schools, high school.
You know, I think